Hello and welcome to KGW News at 5 o'clock. An Idaho man says he is lucky to be alive after taking some bad CBD drops. The drops were contaminated with dangerous levels of THC and almost led to disaster on the road. As Mike Benner reports, that man and several Oregonians are now taking legal action while the OLCC has issued a mandatory recall of the shoddy product.
I recently had a couple kidney surgeries and experiencing some lower back pain.
To cope with some lower back pain, Jason Crawforth of Idaho picked up some CBD drops while visiting his mom on the Oregon coast. The 51-year-old put the drops to use while camping in the Nevada desert in early September. About 2 hours later, Crawforth started to hallucinate.
I stepped out of my motorhome. My fingers started to tingle. My legs started to go numb. And over the course of about 5 minutes, I could feel myself slipping away from reality.
Crawforth eventually went to bed. When he woke up the next morning, he used the CBD drops again, not thinking they were to blame for the episode the night before. Crawforth then got behind the wheel and drove home to Boise.
I start to get dizzy and my fingers start to tingle. And the last two things I remember is a red car coming towards me and not knowing what lane I'm supposed to be in.
Crawforth pulled over and a friend drove the rest of the way. Once home, Crawforth went to the emergency room where he learned he had dangerous levels of THC in his system. THC, of course, is the main psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. It makes people feel high.
I did not suspect it was THC. I've never been a person that's used it, not as an edible or smoking, so I wasn't familiar with the effects.
Turns out THC was in the CBD drops Crawforth was using. The Select brand drops have since been recalled by the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission. The agency is also recalling Select brand THC drops because while they should have detectable THC in them, they don't.
And it's just a clear case of products liability, and it's really sad because it's setting the cannabis industry back as well.
Attorney Michael Fuller is representing Crawforth and a handful of Oregonians who have filed lawsuits against Curaleaf, the company that owns the Select brand drops. Curaleaf has not responded to our request for comment, but it did release a statement to the Oregonian, saying it's working with its testing labs, labeling team, and the OLCC to gather all the facts on the mix-up.
There should be multiple safeguards in place so that this never happens. I mean, this would be the equivalent of going, like, say, to Olive Garden and getting psychedelic mushrooms in your lasagna.
If anybody understands that analogy, it's Jason Crawforth, who no longer has plans to use CBD drops to treat his lower back pain.
And now I'm relying on acupuncture and a physical therapist. I have another CBD product, but I don't want to use it.
In Portland, Mike Benner for KGW News.
A night of destruction in downtown Portland caused about $500,000 in damage. This happened last night after a memorial for an activist who was killed in 2019. Police say within about 10 minutes, a 10-minute time span, a group of people damaged at least 35 businesses and buildings with graffiti and broken windows. Construction crews spent the day replacing or boarding up those broken windows. Portland police say no arrests have been made, none. Among those targeted was a Bank of America building where Posey's Salon is located. The owner said his business wasn't targeted, or damaged rather, but he's frustrated with the city.
City commissioners are not doing a job because everyone wants to play nice. No one wants to be tough and play the bad guy. I think we have a bunch of people that have their own agendas that are not here to run the city in the best interest of the people that work here and live here. It seems to me like it's gotten nowhere and nothing has gotten done.
Before the vandalism, the group was holding a memorial for activist Sean Keelaher, who died 2 years ago when an SUV hit him in northeast Portland. No arrests have been made in the case.
The number of people getting their first dose of COVID vaccine in Oregon is down below 1,000 a day right now. But booster doses for those who qualify are going pretty strong. Of course, you have to qualify to get the Pfizer booster, and those 65 years and older are at the top of the list. Tim Gordon takes us to a senior living center that did a booster clinic today.
Mirabella Tower rises up in the south waterfront. This is where more than 300 seniors live in both independent and assisted living.
What is your date of birth? September 18th.
Today, 180 of them who got the Pfizer vaccine initially are getting their booster doses.
With your vaccine card, you're going to head right over this way, and they'll get you your vaccine, okay?
Oh my God, that's
Quick and easy.
This is a pretty nice place. The clinic is happening up on the 27th floor. 88-year-old Dot Lukens says she knows some don't have it so good.
But I feel very fortunate to be here and to be taken care of and feel very safe and kept up to date on what I need to do for myself.
This is a fortunate and informed group. All 100% of them are fully vaccinated.
You know, the residents have been really focusing on the news and sending us articles and paying attention to the science and everything behind the vaccines, and so they were really chomping at the bit to get them done.
And now they are getting it done with the booster shots. They are not alone. Tuesday totals for COVID vaccinations in Oregon showed 722 getting a first dose and 825 getting a second, while 3,969 people got a booster dose or third dose. Remember, to qualify for the booster, you need to be 65 or older, or be 18 or older with underlying medical conditions, or living in a long-term care facility, or living or working in a high-risk setting. And it should be at least 6 months since you got your second dose of Pfizer.
All right, 33. You're up.
Everyone living at Mirabella qualifies at least because of their age. And so with help from OHSU, they got their shots. 2 of the pharmacists helping administer boosters on Wednesday were students of John Block, a retired professor from OSU's College of Pharmacy.
It felt good. It felt good. And they didn't say, oh my God, that biochemistry prof is here.
When it comes to COVID, Block's expert opinion:
get a vaccine, just like measles and mumps and chickenpox.
Again, this is advice every single person here has followed.
It was very important to me, and I was happy that Mirabella did such a nice job of taking care of all of us and getting us organized so that all we had to do was come upstairs and put our arm out.
In the South Waterfront District, Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Now, we get a lot of emails about natural immunity and how it can relate to the COVID vaccine. See, a lot of people claim that they don't need the vaccine because they've recently had COVID. OHSU researchers told our KGW vaccine team that natural immunity does offer some protection, but you are most protected when natural immunity is paired with the vaccine.
So someone who's been previously infected and gets vaccinated has essentially all of the benefits of stimulating their immune system to respond and expand again with the vaccine without the risks of actually having been infected a second time.
Experts also say immunity varies from person to person, and it's also unclear how long natural immunity will last.
The U.S. border will open to Canadians in just a few weeks. Only vaccinated Canadians will be able to cross for non-essential travel. There's no set date yet, but both Washington Senators Murray and Cantwell confirm it's sometime in early November. Canadians will be able to drive across the border or travel by ferry. The new border rules will apply to all U.S. borders with Canada and Mexico. Americans have been able to travel to Canada since August as long as they're vaccinated and provide a negative test.
In Portland, first responders spend a lot of time dealing with non-emergency type calls, things like low-level back pain or stomach pain. Even firefighters say itchy toes. Yes, it's an extreme example, but it's what they deal with. People call 911 for these things, and the emergency crews have to respond because there's no one else to go. That is, until now. Today, the Portland City Council gave the official green light to the CHAT program. CHAT stands for Community Health Assess and Treat. Instead of sending large teams of firefighters and paramedics, 911 operators will now be able to send 2 fire medics to low-level health calls. The city plans to pay for CHAT with $2.4 million in grant money from CARE Oregon.
Our mission is to inspire and partner to create quality and equity in individual and community health. Right? So we see this as all of that.
Right now, our society and community, people call 911, like I said, because they don't have another option. But we want to show people their option.
Officials hope to roll out this chat program as early as mid-November. At first, it'll operate as a pilot program in downtown and outer southeast Portland. People will be able to access chat by calling 911.
Oregon communities ravaged by wildfires could be facing big financial cuts in their schools. In Oregon, each student in a school district brings in a certain amount of money. When fires tore through Oregon in 2020, it forced people out of their homes and, in some cases, out of their school districts. Lawmakers had introduced a bill to protect funding for these school districts, even if enrollment dropped. But despite bipartisan support and reassurance it would pass, it never did.
And it ended up just dying in committee. And what we were told is there was just miscommunication.
We adopted a budget with the assurance that this funding would come through.
We're looking at about $300,000, give or take, short.
They hope the state's emergency board will pass the bill for at least the next year. Then, when the legislative session starts again, they're hoping lawmakers give them the help they need.